It's August 29th, and this is my 8th update of the 2016 gardening season. This is what happens when you go away for almost 2 weeks and come back. And welcome to my jungle. So I'm gone for a couple weeks on vacation, visiting family and all that, and I come back to this. So I got suckers galore. They're growing up tall. My tomatoes have gone a little bit awry. So anyway, I'm gonna have to clean this up. But good things have been happening while I was gone. I want to show you this. Remember these two guys? These two guys down here are almost ready to pick. They are huge. This is going to be 1.5 or 2 pounds right here. Probably at least 1.5 pounds for that one. But anyway, so when you go away, just make sure this is the lesson you learn. Don't go away in the middle of the season when everything's getting ready to harvest, because you'll come back to this and you have to spend some time cleaning it up. So I'll show you what I did, because I've got these 2 beds for my tomatoes, and already took care of one. So this is what I've done so far. I got back, and what happens as you go on in the season, the bottom leaves of the tomatoes start to die off. So I took these off all the way down and cut off the bottom leaves for about the bottom 2 feet of the plant, and got rid of that. If you don't get rid of those leaves, you'll notice that when you get into the tomatoes and you're picking stuff, it kind of smells, and you don't want that. So get rid of the dead stuff, throw it away. This is what I got out of all that. So this is from this bed. And then I'm going to have to go through the other bed and clean that up, and I'll end up with that same kind of stuff. So just something you want to do to maintain the plants as you go along. I think next year what I'll do is, when the plants get to about 3 feet tall, I'm going to take off the bottom leaf, and every week just take off the next one up. And that'll help keep that plant healthy, and you won't have to deal with those dead leaves as you go through the season. Here's the grape tomatoes. They're doing really well. They're not so big and heavy like my big beef and stuff, big beef tomatoes, that all I need are these bamboo sticks, and they give them enough support to climb up. What I do is I just let them go up like that, and then I'll wrap this around a little bit as it gets taller. But you see, I just in and out of the bamboo so they don't fall over. Those should be, those about full size almost, those are. And they'll ripen up probably in 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll have some grape tomatoes. These up here, they won't develop in time for the end of the season. So now that I've got my work done, I'll show you. This is how this batch of tomatoes, this bed ended up. You'll see I took off the bottom couple feet of all the leaves, took care of all the suckers that were growing all over the place in here. And now the one thing this does is it lets the air circulate through the garden bed, so you don't end up with diseases and stuff, all that decay. I took off almost all these leaf branches, all the dead stuff, so that'll help keep your plants healthy. I'll show you this. There's my thumb. My grandfather says I have catcher's hands, big, thick hands, and look at the size of that stalk. This is a healthy tomato plant. These tomatoes have really, really done well this year. And I'd like to think it's all because of me, but you know, it's not because of me. Anyway, so, and I'll show you what I did with the squash. As for my 2 little squash beds, I'll show you what I've done here. This squash right here was only about that tall, and when I come back, it's now 3.5 feet, 4 feet tall. And I got some flowers on here. I don't have anything developing on it, but at least it's still alive. Now I'm going to have to go through and clear out some of these leaves because it's too thick. Over here on this green zucchini, I've got one with some flowers, but this I'm going to have to bring up and wrap up into this string because it's been growing to here. So this will be about up to here when I get it tied up. And this is my Amish long neck pumpkin. And remember, it was up to here and over to here, and look at the size of that thing. That is about 2 feet long right now. And I don't know how much bigger it's going to get, but it's not quite ready to pick yet. So one thing I want to show you here. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. This is the equivalent of a tomato sucker. I don't let these things go. And it started back here, right there. So I'm going to cut that off. I haven't pruned these yet because I wanted to show you. Here's another one going off sideways too. So when they say your squash goes out sideways, cut them off. And this was about where this plant was when I left a week and a half ago. And now we are over to here, messed up with the pumpkins. So I'm about had it with this. I'm going to cut this off so it doesn't grow out anymore, and then it can use that energy to supply the fruit. And I've got one down here. Now the flower's already done with here, so I think maybe it is. Yeah, maybe the flower's done. But this, if it's pollinated, this one will start to grow. So it'd be nice to get a couple. Here's one, and I don't think the flower has bloomed on this. They bloom early in the day, and then they get pollinated, and then they shut off, and then they're done. They only bloom for a few hours, so you have that small chance to pollinate it. Anyway, so that was a lot. Oh, we'll have a moment of silence for this one. Okay, so I took that squash that's no longer there, untangled it. I took the little, whatever they are, that hooks onto everything, took them off the tree, and I took this pumpkin and took it all the way back to here. Cut off the end so it doesn't grow anymore. And I just wrapped it around so it's got support, and all these leaves will get really good sunshine. And I may get one or two, there's the one, I may get one or two more out of this plant, but when you're looking at something like this, that's easily a 10-pound long neck pumpkin when you get done. 3 years ago when I grew the first one, I got a 15.5-pound long neck pumpkin. It was about 30 inches long. It was huge, and we made pumpkin pies out of it, and it was really yummy. So I took the squash plant and I cut off some of the, like every other leaf, so it's not all bunched together. I got one squash and one little buggy in there. And I did the same thing for this one. Cut off some of the leaves, trained it up this string, and that'll lead to a much healthier, hopefully productive plant. But it's important to cut some of those leaves out of there because they're going to die anyway. And if you don't let the air circulate down through, the fence, you'll end up with this being wet, the stalk of the lower part of the squash plant getting wet and just going bad, and then the plant will die. So you want to keep as much air as that so it stays dry. So here's my peppers, all my different varieties of peppers. It's kind of hard to see anything in there because, you know, the peppers that are on there now haven't changed colors. But one thing I'll point out is how my peppers have been doing this season. You know, when you haven't seen a member of your family, like one of the kids or something, for a few months, and they were like 3 feet tall, and then you come back and they're, I don't know, 52 inches tall, maybe 51. But so 2 weeks ago, these peppers right here were maybe 42, 43 inches tall, and now they're at 51, 52. So that's what happens in less than 2 weeks. So they're killing, and I've got a lot of peppers on here and get rid of this. Got a lot of peppers. See, these peppers are really nice. That one down there. What we've been doing, because we had blossom under rot, so there we go. That's what's been happening when they change colors, when they ripen up. So I don't want to do that, and they go bad. So we've been picking them before, or right as they start to turn colors, like this one. I'm going to pick this one and get rid of it, take it inside, and so we got that. Oops, there we go. So this is just starting to change, but see those little black spots right there? That's where it's going to start going bad, and we want to get them. And what we do is we slice them up, clean them out, chop them up, and freeze them. So we want to take this so we don't waste it. if you take this now and you throw it in, like we've got a table on the patio, we let them ripen up with the tomatoes. And we don't want to do that with the peppers because the skin toughens up and then you just can't have them. The skin will toughen up and they don't eat very well like that. So that's what we'll do with our peppers. But still got a lot of peppers on here, if you can see. A lot of peppers are developing in there. There's one over there. But the peppers are pretty nice peppers this year. We got some really nice. The idea was I wanted to get the kind you get in the store. This yellow one, I'll pick this still. There we go. So that is a good looking pepper. And we want to take that. The longer you let them ripen on the vine, the sweeter they'll be. And we like sweet peppers. So peppers, I got some red ones off there too. The hot peppers are doing really good. The red cayenne, I've got the red cayenne peppers right there. And when they ripen up, they're really hot. Remember with peppers, the hot peppers, you don't want to mess with them with your hands because they'll get all that oil, that hot oil. And of course you wipe your face and stuff like that. And then you realize, oh, remember I didn't want to touch my face with that. So peppers are doing good. Let's go to the green beans. So 12 days ago, on the last update, on the 14th, the beans were about 4 or 5 inches tall, and now the beans are a good foot and a half maybe. They're a good at least 12 inches tall. So they've been doing really good. I think the summer heat, this August heat here in south central Pennsylvania has really been good for them. You'll see these have really grown up at least 12 inches in less than 2 weeks. So the beans are doing really well, and they should be producing flowers and harvesting beans maybe within 2 to 3 weeks, because the maturation date on these is 60 days. But in the other bed, those J2 green beans, which is what these are, I was getting green beans in 5 weeks. And while I was gone, we got about 6.5 pounds of green beans. And these are smooth green beans. They don't have any like fuzzy covering. But look at that. All those green beans were like that. Nice and well formed. About 5 or 6 inches long. We get some down here. I'm going to have to pick some more today, because you get about a week or 10 days of really good harvesting before it starts to die down. This one I'd leave, this one I'd pick, and that one I'd get in a couple more days. So what I do with my green beans is when it's time to pick, I'll pick every other day for a week or so, and then I'm done with them. I pull them out and then we're done with the green beans. So this will be the last of my green beans over here. I might plant some radishes in this bed just to get some radishes, maybe 30-40 plants, and then we'll be done with that bed, and then I'll start preparing it for the winter. So I want to show you what I picked today. As I was going through and cleaning everything, you'll see I've got the big beef. Those are the 2 big ones that I had on that plant. Some of the peppers, these are nice sized peppers. That's a leaf. Nice sized peppers, kind you get at the store. So those are pear tomatoes and a few of the cherry tomatoes. But you notice I'm picking them before they go fully ripe, because I just don't want to lose any of them to a blossom end rot. So anyway, but this is the kind of, wow, this is amazing. That's got to be 2 pounds. So really impressed with everything. And really the only thing I did this year was I did the raised beds and used Miracle Grow. I've used it just a couple times so far, and I'm going to throw another one on there either today or Wednesday. Well, the potatoes look pretty shabby, and they're supposed to. What I've read is, and because this is my first season of trying potatoes, they're supposed to fall over and die, kind of like onions do. And so they're pretty much falling over and dying off. And I'm going to check on them probably in the next day or two, dig up a little bit and see what's going on underneath. But I think I'll have potatoes in a week or two. This is the other potato bed, and I'm going to show you what I found. While I was gone, we got this little thing right in here. There he is. It's a potato. So I know I have potatoes, and that looks pretty nice. See them down there. There we go. So we got that. And the reason these formed is because this was above the ground. So I covered it back up. You don't want these exposed. You don't want to expose your potatoes to the air. They'll turn green. You won't be able to eat them. Right, so at least I know I have one potato in there. Probably a lot. So that's it for this update. You'll notice I still have plenty of tomatoes on there. I've probably only picked maybe half, and we've picked, oh gosh, 120 pounds of potatoes so far, or tomatoes, and so things are going well. Gotta love it. So if you like what I've done here, if you like the information, use it. Again, this is my first year of documenting everything what I've done on YouTube, and subscribe to my channel if you like it. I'm not an expert, but I've been dinking around with this for 6 years now, and trying to figure out what works, and researching and all that. And so subscribe to my channel if you would, and send the word out and talk about me to your friends, and the more we can all share together, the better. See you in a couple weeks. So I told you we bring the tomatoes into the patio to let them ripen the rest of the way. If I pick them a little early, maybe 2 or 3 days early. So this is what we end up doing. And one thing to do is turn them over every day, so they don't I don't know, get squishy on because they're sitting on the same side for days at a time before they ripen up. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that big sucker. Right here I've got a scale. I'm going to put it down there, and it's going to go 1 and probably 1.4 pounds. So it's off. I was pretty close though. I think I said 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. So that's one big tomato, and we will put this out here and keep these here, and I'll probably take most of those in tomorrow and process them for canning, and I'll make a video on that one of these days soon, this season too. Bye again, back in 2 weeks.